Let the dragon consume you! Enemy sighted. Stop the payload! Stop the payload! In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Back at it one more time with the Bird Watchers. I'm Clay, your host. I'm here with my homie Ryan and co-host Ryan.
both hosts and co-host. What's up, man?
Hey, doing all right, buddy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. It was a great week for Overwatch.
It was an excellent week for Overwatch.
All hail Overwatch.
Yeah. What are we? We're at week 3 of stage 2.
Yeah, it's flying by.
It is flying by.
How many weeks? 5 weeks, right?
It is 5 weeks. Yeah, this week especially seemed to fly by just because of how good the games were.
Yeah, and just remind me, so the playoffs for Stage 2 are only based on Stage 2 standings, right?
The playoffs for Stage 2 are for Stage 2 standings only, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I don't know, actually. That's a good question that you bring up.
And it's because they keep, I asked because they keep showing the Stage 2 ranking, where currently Shanghai is at the top, right? Or not Shanghai, the
Seoul
that's
Dynasty,
impossible. Yeah, Seoul Dynasty's at the top. So I was wondering if they're doing that to say, hey, make sure Stage 2 playoffs are for Stage 2, since it's not really bearing on anything else. It doesn't change the records. It doesn't change anything besides getting money.
I think I would prefer that they would do it that way, actually. That maybe we get a shakeup in the top couple spots.
Yeah, we'll have to check out to see if that's how it works. But
yeah,
man.
keep my eye out this weekend.
Good week. Let's just hop right into it.
Yeah,
so
Wednesday, Wednesday, March 7th.
So we're going to do our honorable mentions first, right? So we're going to start off with the first game of the day. We have the Seoul Dynasty versus Shanghai Dragons. And I hate that every time they show it, you just see the number get bigger.
Yeah.
The loss number just gets bigger and bigger. But Dynasty take it 4-0, sorry.
Yep.
They took Volskaya Industries, Lijiang Tower, Kings Row, and Route 66. And then that sends us to our second honorable mention. Which one is that?
That's San Francisco versus Dallas. So Shock did win 3-0. I think they had to draw the first map, and then Shock took Lijiang, Kings Row, and Route 66.
Which is similar to what you've been saying is these teams at the bottom seem to be taking that first game in some manner a lot of the time, regardless of team. Yeah,
kind of some shaky ground Dallas is on this week, but we'll get into our feature match of the week.
Yeah,
this
man.
is the battle for LA, baby. Yeah.
Talk about this is how you start the week off. I remember seeing this. This is one of the games I missed originally.
Went back and watched it.
Yeah, I was running the streets, and when I saw it, like I looked at my phone, I was like, "Wait, what?"
This is some kind of typo, right? Some kind of error.
Exactly, because we have the number 4 Valiant versus the number 8 Los Angeles Gladiators, which we know the only change is that they have Fissure now.
Yeah.
But not much else. So, give us that first map. That first map. How did what kind of? It was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Hydration
it just came out on a tear, man. Yeah, no joke.
And there's been a lot of hydration, just general. What do you call it? The people pleasing stuff, where they put out like videos and articles and There's been a lot of outside the game stuff about hydration before this, which is kind of due purpose since he now is in the forefront as far as talking about DPS.
Oh, yeah, and very strong at that, and seems like a humble guy. They do make a great comment at the very beginning of this that Los Angeles Gladiators do try to play to their opponents as far as they play upwards, and they definitely did play upwards on this one.
Yeah. All right, so Hanamura, first map. Hydration, just constantly getting like 4Ks, 3Ks. His Dragon Blades are really solid. His decision making is really solid. His shurikens or ninja stars, whatever you want to call them, they're like the accuracy is there because a lot of times you'll see a lot of Genjis trying to pick off from afar, especially now. Like they'll get a support low and they'll try to pick off that last bit of health instead of dashing in. We're seeing more of that kind of action, but he's actually hitting those. Yeah, and it's very impressive.
He definitely seems a lot more confident on the Genji. We saw a ton of Tracer play out of him, Pharah play out of him early in the season. Not much Genji, but his Genji is really improving. Seems very confident.
Yeah, and then outside of that, the Valiant have been in this weird position where it's similar to Houston, right? So once again, Houston's my team, and ever since they've been my team, they've been on a losing streak.
Yeah, rough week, man.
It's been a rough couple of weeks. Really. But we do get to see some Reaper play here from Karib.
Yeah.
On Valiant, which was interesting because a lot of people speculated about what character would see more play post meta. A lot of people said Reaper, but it's actually working, right? There was one point on point 2 when they were on attack that Karib got a 3K. That was pretty solid. And Reaper play doesn't really look impressive. It's more methodical and by the books.
Yep.
But that's the impressive part, is knowing what targets to pick, baiting, essentially putting that damage out there, getting people's attention, running away, and then fading back into the fight. Try to displace people, jumping off because you do have that teleport to get back now with the softer voice line, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So seeing Reaper played a lot this week across the teams, we got to see a lot of players do it, and that's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of change of meta. I think a lot of people thought that we'd see more of him just because of a lot of tanks, but no, we're still seeing him just in a more dive-centric meta as well, which is
exactly
cool.
And then we move into they take Hanamura pretty convincingly, and then we move into Li Jiang, which this is where Hydration just goes off and plays Doomfist.
Yeah, and it's awesome because that character does disrupt a lot of teams because they don't get to play against Doomfist very much, and when you have a really threatening Doomfist, it will shake up your confidence and shake up what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah, and that's the crazy part is most, if you talk to any pros, or what most pros say is that, or people in general, are like Doomfist is meant to pick off people who are out of position or playing poorly. Well, we're at a elite level where you're playing with a bunch of professionals, right? So naturally, if people aren't prone to playing poorly because they're pros, that character loses some value at that level. But here we're seeing him use it very effectively. And we've seen cases where like a Prophet or Birdring would hop on it on Doomfist from for a defense. SBB has done it in the past, but no one has started off. I think Hydration, one of the stat lines was that he has the most time in stage 2 so far on that character.
Yeah, and it's exciting to get him, getting to see him play it, man. It's insane. Yeah.
And there was a case where there was a pretty, like this map specifically, both teams had Zarya. The Zarya Rhine combo, tank-wise, has been more popular now. Even on ladder, you're seeing it more on Li Jiang, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're seeing more of that, and the gravitons from both teams on this were just terrible. Like, I think each team had about 3 gravitons, and none of them resulted in any kills.
Oh yeah, just throwing them out there in the middle of the air, and it's like, oh, we missed.
And there's even a case where I think Valiant threw out their graviton, caught the majority of the gladiators besides Asher, and inside that graviton, Hydration still got a 3K. And then Asher came around and finished off everybody else.
Oh no!
With his dead eye, and it was like that was two separate gravitons. So the first one, Hydration, they won it because of that 3K, and then Asher gets a 3K on the next one. And at that point, they held the point damn near the whole time. You're not getting it back, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Talk about a DPS that also impressed me this week is Asher.
Mm-hmm.
Hydration did put in a lot of work, but Asher in the back lines, a lot of these times, just being very disruptive, giving his frontline DPS and his tanks a lot of room to work with, and he really was on a tear. Soon, very impressive Tracer. Asher comes out 56, 32 deaths compared to Soon's 56 and 48 deaths. So Asher's in the game for almost 10 minutes longer than Soon is, which is kind of crazy to think about.
And that was the one saving grace for Valiant, is that Soon has not dropped the ball yet. Since stage 1 and stage 2 through the playoffs, everything, he still plays. Yeah, he's the most consistent piece of that team, and that hopefully that. But he is quiet, so that's one of the cases where you don't really have that kind of play bleeding into the rest of the team, because he's not the one patting people on the back. He's not the one. He's so in it, and he's such a focused type player. He doesn't really play on emotion. You kind of see that on camera too.
Yeah.
I don't want to read too much into that.
Game. Right. And I think you were bringing up earlier that they are trying out a couple of other flex DPSs next to soon, and where they'll end up landing is kind of the mystery, right? We still have Agilities out there, we still have Silk Thread out there, and now we're trying Kariv. Which one will they end up on?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean they take Li Jiang. We move into Hollywood. On Hollywood, we get to see Ashe's Widow, which is interesting because it never looks this oppressive, or this oppressive. And when you tell me Ashe, I think more about his Tracer than anything.
Right.
He's not really in the Widow's talk for me, but here it's just impressive. And then Shaz is also, you're talking about the whole team stepping up. And we'll get into the question of, like, what do we think the Gladiators are doing in their off time? Like, what coaching changes, what practice changes, because everybody's stepped up to the plate. I mean, even Big Goose too, right? Like, everybody's playing at a level
absolutely
that it kind of reminds me of what we're seeing from Fusion, right?
Yeah,
like that kind of growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but here on Hollywood, we pretty much get cases where Asher's Widow, like his headshots and Shaz's discords, are just stonewalling the Valiant.
Yeah.
There are cases where they stop them from capturing just because they take so much time from the beginning, as far as, okay, now we've bothered you for 3 minutes, you have a minute to do something.
And then you're in scramble mode at that point.
Exactly.
And you're just not able to put anything together.
Yeah. But that wraps up Hollywood. They take Hollywood again, and then we go to Gibraltar for the final match. Map differential. Let's see if you can win one.
This is a long match.
Man.
Long match.
And then we bring in Surefour. So you kind of forget, another hair candidate.
Yeah.
Surefour and Raucus. Those are your two big ones there.
Yeah, yeah.
We did a hair
bracket.
I don't know.
Look at Big Goose, baby. That's a nice look.
Big Goose.
Yeah. Not only a nice head of hair, that Big Goose looks good on a jersey. That might be number 2 for me.
That's a good jersey. He's always rocking the chain too, man.
Yeah, but you're right. Surefour stepping in for hydration, man. Doing some work.
Yeah, carrying the load. They now have, if you have hydration playing like that, you have Asher playing like that, and then Surefour is no slouch.
A diversity of threats, man. That's what you want to have.
Yeah, and they have a good swappability as well, because like hydration has his Pharah, but then Surefour has his Pharah, who's also solid. And when Surefour needs to play like Hanzo, for example, then you can have hydration switch to the Pharah and still get the same kind of output.
Oh yeah,
which is a good ability to have. Was there anything like you mentioned this map was long?
Yeah. This was like, oh my gosh, we're just gonna keep going back and forth. Just keep putting the overtime back on the clock. We're gonna keep going. It's like, okay, yeah, because I think Valiant ended up getting 5 points on this map, and Los Angeles backed it up to 6. Didn't matter. Yeah,
it was that overtime. The overtime was exciting though, but it was a case where they were able to stay on the point, keep it moving.
Yeah.
And that's the key in overtime, right? Overtime's one of those things where the stress level rises when those fights start, because you know that if you don't take them off, then you're kind of trickling in or have to set back up.
Yeah.
And I'm always interested in those situations to see if, do we knock them off point? Do we focus on that, or do we focus on the crowd control, or do we focus on just trying to get the kills? And it's a difficult situation to be in, especially at that level, I can only imagine.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on, too.
Yeah, but you talk about stats-wise, hydration, that's a good stat line.
Yeah, 44 kills and 25 deaths, which is a great ratio to have, especially when you're playing characters like Pharah and Genji, where generally, especially on Pharah, you're going to get picked out of the sky a lot. You want to be high impact, but sometimes the deaths come with it. I don't know. As far as the 2 Zenyatas, too, Shaz really not hugely impressive in the first stage, but stage 2, man, he's doing some work. He 23 and 26 compared to Unko. Died 42 times over a course of 4 maps. Yeah, not doing a lot there.
Yeah, I don't know. 42 deaths is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of walking back, man.
That's a lot. Well, floating back.
Yeah, that's a lot of. You get to look at your phone on Instagram. You're like, well, I'm doing it again, man. I get to scroll through this thing one more time, I guess.
But yeah, I made a comment. Overall, this performance looked like a bunch of solo queuers playing against a 6-stack, and that's not the effect you want, right? You want to see two cohesive teams banging against each other.
Do you think Los Angeles came into this maybe a little bit too confident? Just maybe think, hey, we can kind of do whatever we want. We're going to win. They had some good first couple of weeks in Stage 2. Do you think, hey, maybe we're going against Los Angeles or our counterpart in Los Angeles? Maybe we just easily win this?
I would say they're probably more lackadaisical than anything, because they have said that they are hungry since they got turned over by Houston for the playoffs, right?
Right.
So they didn't really like that feeling, so they were going to come back to it. But I don't know if they were prepared for how these other middle-of-the-pack teams were ramping up, right?
Oh, and they definitely are ramping up.
And my Houston Outlaws are in the same position where, they were comfortable, and now it's like things are changing, the meta changed and everything. So now we have to figure out something. Shit, the whole mayhem situation. We'll get into that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that's your scary point. But yeah, once the Valiant figure out their proper formula, right? Because they are in the situation with Kareev where he's more consistent, but he's not really a big play guy. And he kind of drops the ball when you need him to do something crazy or clutch.
Right.
So, they're like, okay, well, we still have Agilities and Silk Thread who are known to be playmakers, since the beginning of time. But they're also not shot callers. So Kareev's your shot caller when he's in. Yeah. So, there's more to it than just the play, right? There's the team composition to worry about. And that's what they're trying to figure out. So maybe there's some of that playing into it as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're still early obviously just in the stage and in just the season as a whole. I mean, maybe this is the time you figure these kind of things out. Don't wait till the playoffs to figure this kind of stuff out.
Exactly, because they come fast, man. Or we're starting to notice that they sneak up on you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we got, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
It's crazy until another chunk of cash goes to another lucky team.
Yeah,
so take us in the next day
so we're,
with our honorable mentions, and then we'll get into the main.
Yeah, so Thursday we get into honorable mention number 1. We'll just go ahead and say Boston versus Shanghai. Boston wins 4-0.
Yeah.
Taking Volskaya, Nepal, Kings Row, and Route 66. Kind of what we expected.
Shanghai. The number just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. And then our second one was Philadelphia versus Seoul. Actually, pretty close. If you look at the numbers, pretty close match. Just Seoul able to take it 3-1.
Yeah.
And our feature match of the week, or the day, was Houston Outlaws versus the Los Angeles Valiant. So another Valiant matchup where a little shaken after day 1, but Los Angeles able to take this one 4-0.
Yeah, and so this is the crazy part, right? You have the number 4 Valiant lose to the number 8 Gladiators at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the number 5 Outlaws losing to the Valiant, who are now number 4,
right?
Who they took the playoffs from, or the playoff spot from last season. And then you have a case where, last week the Outlaws beat the Gladiators. So what's going on? The only explanation I have is that you have a case where all these teams are evolving really quickly,
right?
And that's that's I don't want to be too profound here or like prophetic, but that's kind of beautiful because that's the whole concept of Overwatch is that you have a game that evolves as you play it, right? People are swapping, people are adjusting characters to the situation. When one team adjusts, you adjust to match that team until the game's over and the winner's decided, right?
Yeah, it's all about adapting.
Yeah, and that's kind of paralleling the Overwatch League, where you have teams in the same situation. The same team that was rocking it, 4 weeks ago could be having trouble or is having trouble. I mean, the Houston Outlaws are a great sign of that, right? They were top of the world not too long ago. So it's this constant cycle of growth, getting better, and that's good in sports, man. You don't want it stagnated. You don't want to always know who the team is.
Yeah,
you don't want the Patriots to always win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
unless you're a Patriots fan.
Yeah, right.
Let's get to some of the maps.
Yeah. So map 1, Hanamura.
Yeah.
So we have a really big shine here in soon, man.
Yeah.
He comes out with vengeance after Wednesday night's loss. He looks like he is a little upset and really take it out on the Houston Outlaws. Which I guess I think this was the rivalry, right? This was Houston versus Los Angeles. This is kind of what we ended up finding because Gladiators lacked a little bit in stage 1, and so did Dallas. So they had to find their enemies elsewhere. So I think this is where we ended up. This is the kind of the battle for the Western team, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I would say, it's a good, because of that whole playoff situation only made it, because when they do interviews, Valiant's only talking about, Houston took their spot, right?
Right.
Like that was our spot, because they fought up that ladder to pretty much put everybody else in the position to even give Houston a chance. So, because we know Boston was up there too as well, as far as consideration. So we'll see if that continues. But here, man, soon, that's when you can rely on someone. I think that's like I don't even have to question if Soon's going to show up. Right.
It's
not like a
is the rest of Los Angeles going to show up?
Yeah,
Soon's
it's not like a
here.
striker situation. Yeah. Where you might get it or you might not.
Yeah, very consistent. And Los Angeles doubles the kill count on Houston on Hanamura.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, if you double the count and you don't win, that would be questionable, right? That would be weird.
Yeah.
But they take Hanamura.
Yep. So next map, Li Zhang, Valiant, obviously take this one as well.
Yeah, and this is another case where we get to see more poor gravitons, right? Yeah. I don't know. I've recently on ladder. Just a side note. Recently on ladder, I was playing and we won the first counterpoint, and then we're on the second round, and we got Li Zhang Tower, and it was a case where someone asked me to switch to Zarya, and I play a little bit of Zarya, but as I'm playing the character, I'm like, I don't know why we switched. We end up losing, right?
Right.
And it was just one of those cases where I know now that Zarya and Ryan on that map is the thing, but I don't know if it's completely correct.
Right.
Because I'm seeing a lot of cases where even at the pros, when you watch it, it doesn't seem as clean as if you were to pick, just a comp, like a dive comp or whatever, your standard.
Right.
So I don't know where I stand on that new trend.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get into that situation on all the maps. They're like, well, this is the meta for this map. We need to play this. And I think people get into trouble that way, where they're not as comfortable on, say, a Zarya comp, and they miss,
Yeah. But on that second map, they end up getting like 3 consecutive team kills, and it's just they flip it, they keep it, and then they move on to the last one, which they wrap it all up. And then they take Li Zhang as well, and we move into Hollywood, where Houston just fails to get second point, which is something we're seeing more now. When you start to see teams fail to get points rather than the overtime situation where everybody scores the first round and then we move to overtime,
right,
kind of thing, that's where you start to get concerned because it's a clear dominance, right?
Yeah, and I may be wrong here. I think Houston does take point 1 relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And I think they roll in with a Junkrat. Do they roll in with a Jake on Junkrat on offense? I think that's what they end up trying.
I think.
I know they do it on offense. Jake is playing Junkrat on offense, but because he tries to play Junkrat into Valiant on the second point, and it does nothing. It's just too wide open of a map. Junkrat's not going to get any foothold there. And as you noted here, Lynx are just not performing on the Widowmaker like we're used to. And actually later in the week, Lynxer does come back and show us some good Widowmaker, but they really do struggle on point 2 here.
Yeah, Houston's definitely having a problem. And I don't know, even from coaching-wise, I made a note here that, so on defense on Hollywood, they go Hog, Diva, Junkrat, Tracer, Ana, and Zen. And
that seems very strange.
That's strange for the first point.
Yeah, it looked like Muma just kind of gave up on the Winston role and went to a Hog role to kind of be a front guy on the cart, but it really didn't pay off because he's the only one up there. He's obviously getting picked really quickly.
Yeah.
And I hate to call it out, but Jake on the Tracer this week, pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the biggest note for Houston, and not having a main Tracer player besides Clockwork, and Clockwork doesn't do shot calling. So
yeah, exactly.
You have Jake out there making calls, you're going to lack a Tracer, and it's sad to say this is a Tracer meta. And you could tell because Soon does so well in Tracer. Asher did really well in Tracer, and that really does shape the game.
Yeah, those pulse bombs are important. One of the faster charging ults as well. Yeah, it was definitely a case when I saw it, I was like, not only did you just have trouble getting second point, and you don't have momentum on your side, you don't have the crowd on your side, to do something bold like this is something I would expect out of a more South Korean team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something just crazy off the wall.
Yeah, something off the wall, but then you just see them, they essentially dive comp it from the Valiant side, and they kill everybody real quick because this is just weird. This is a weird comp to see. But yeah, so they lose that pretty quickly, and then we move into Route 66, where Valiant essentially wrap it up.
Yeah, which is kind of strange. I noticed a trend on this. Generally, when you're 3-0, the last map will, they'll go to the other team because maybe you're a little bit more relaxed. You give them the one, but no, Valiant won all 4. They're like, we lost all 4 last night. We got to take all 4 from these guys.
Yeah, and Houston's now on a longer losing streak than Shanghai. Which,
at this point,
map-wise, map-wise.
Yeah.
Not overall, because that's impossible.
Yeah. You start to get down too, right? I mean, this is kind of shaking your confidence.
I made a choice that I was like, it was validated. They weren't the best team.
Do you think that might be the reason?
Do I think I'm Magic?
On. Yeah. Are you Magic? They're like, Ryan hopped on. We can't win any more maps now.
Yeah. So. But yeah, it was a case where, Jake died a lot on this map.
Did die a lot, And Soon did he did perform very well.
Oh, yeah, Soon definitely stepped up. His consistency's there. Linkser, I mentioned, we talked about switching too often, which is a case that we see here.
Not getting comfortable.
Linkser played his full pool in 4 games. That's ridiculous because he has a large pool of characters. I think like four or five that he plays really solid. So, I don't know. Good on Valiant. I mean, definitely off the Gladiator loss. This is something they needed, especially against the team that they sought out.
Bounce back, right.
And I hope this takes their focus off the Houston Outlaws. It says, okay, we can beat them. We know we can beat them. Now let's focus on all this other stuff that's going on in the league. There's a lot of other. There's 11 other teams that we have to worry about. But one of the cool notes from this game was they talked about that Soon and Unko are teaching Kari French, right? Since he's newer to the team, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he asked them to. So that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Him being the shot caller, kind of wanting to, cater towards the different nationalities on the team.
Yeah.
And Soon has said that him and Unko sometimes do communicate in French over the comm, so that could help.
Yeah. Could you imagine 2 guys on your team speaking another language? You're like, yeah, I don't know what you guys.
Oh yeah, man, I play ladder with a bunch of French Canadians, so
yeah. You're just kind of out there like, I have no idea, guys.
Yeah, it's just all emotion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wraps it up. They 4-0'd the day. Now we're gonna move into Friday.
Yeah, March 9th.
All right, so honorable mentions here. Let's see, London Spitfire versus Boston Uprising. We have London taking it 4-0, so they take Hanamura, Nepal, Hollywood, Gibraltar, and it's London Spitfire, right? Yeah. I say that, but we'll get back to that later.
Yeah.
Our second honorable mention is Florida Mayhem versus Houston Outlaws. Oh, man. Okay.
This is actually a crazy map. This is actually one of my favorite matches of the week to watch because Florida really seemed very dominant in the first 2 maps. Yeah. And I just, real quick, because it is one of our honorable mentions, Tavik, hell of a player, one of the best TPSs in the league. I think he's kind of stuck on Florida as one of their higher paid guys, and he does really shine. Yeah. They kill it on the first 2 maps. They make a coaching decision to switch things up. They put Logix, who's generally their Tracer player, onto a Widowmaker player. And then, he just doesn't perform. Later on the week, he does actually get a lot of kills on Widowmaker, but I think that switch in momentum and stuff like that really hurt Florida Mayhem because Florida was, poised to win this map or match. Yeah. So Houston was able to get a 3-2.
Thank goodness.
I was crying for Florida to win this one. Yeah, because I think Houston had lost this would have been 9 maps in a row. Yeah, or 10 maps in a row, something just crazy. So
yeah, so it's definitely like, okay, we can still beat teams, right? And Florida's not that far from Shanghai as far as overall record. So
right.
Yeah, props to Florida for showing out. I'm gonna keep my eyes open. I'm just happy.
I think there's a lot of growth there. Yeah,
a lot of growth. I mean, across the league in general, which is, like I said, that's cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we get to see our main game, which is fun. Which is real fun to watch.
Absolutely, yeah.
New York Excelsior, your number 1 versus your number 6 Philadelphia Fusion. Excelsior ended up taking this 3-1, but the games were tight.
They did feel very tight. It was really close.
Yeah, I have to say the happiest thing I was like, okay, now Ikeo gets to see, he gets to see somebody that hopefully I hope caught his eye. I didn't look at any articles or anything afterwards with him to see his opinion on that experience because up to this point he hasn't really played any of the top teams.
Yeah. So do we have 2 replacements here? So we had Shadowburn out this week and Boombox, right?
Yeah, Boombox is sick.
And then we had Dayfly. Yeah. Cool.
Who I'm still kind of iffy on, but it is what it is. Just because it's not a case that Dayfly is bad. It's just that Boombox is
very good.
He's one of your top supports in the league right now. So that's a big and probably played a huge. It did play a huge factor.
Yeah.
Here, but yeah,
because like you said, these maps were tight.
Yeah. So map 1, Volskaya, Excelsior take it, but it's a tight game, right?
Yeah, and I think you noted here that NYXL, one of the only people to not use Sombra on this map.
They're that good.
Yeah, we don't need that.
They don't have to change anything.
Sombra is very good.
Oh yeah,
on this map, and they were like, nah.
And this is still pre-patch Sombra too, right?
Yeah. So they're getting the EMP extremely quickly.
Yeah,
which is backbreaking on this map too, especially our on defense.
Yeah, but SBB's just. I mean, you had the stats here, and you know the funny part, Carpe doesn't do bad in comparison.
No, he's right there with SBB. That's why you looking at these stats of all 4 of these maps, it looks close. Like kill to death ratios, the amount of fights won by both teams, it is very close.
And that's the crazy part. I guess the one part that falls off is, we mentioned it, Dayfly, is where he has significantly more deaths.
37.
Than the other supports. And we just talked about Unko dying 42 times kind of thing.
Yeah, he was trying to beat that record, baby.
He was going for that 42. For the record.
Yeah.
But New York is just so tight. Like that comp to watch, man. Jonak's so good. Burrow's so good. They're all just good.
Oh, yeah. This is obviously the best team. So
Yeah. For reasons. So, they take Volskaya. We moved into Nepal. And we already knew how this was going to go because NYXL has a 79 win rate.
79?
Yeah,
Dude,
on control maps.
Insane.
Which, if you think about it, if they ever go into overtime, like we talked about the 3-2 outcomes and hopefully see more of those.
They're most likely going to win it.
Yeah, because your third one is the control map. So that's, they're real good at reading the environment and reading their opponents, right? And they adjust very quickly. And that's something we see here, which is an overarching theme of why Philadelphia lost, was that they were slower to react and slower to adapt. Where, after Nepal, so they pretty much take Nepal because they're consistently full killing or focus killing players, and they're not having to commit to full team kills. So if you can kill the right person and then say, okay, boom, Dayfly's dead, because that's usually who they go for first, because he's a new guy, he's kind of out there, his positioning's not great. They catch Dayfly, and then Fusion has to pull off, and then they just take point, right? Or they flip it. So it's one of those cases where that's how they just end up taking Nepal overall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially on those maps, if you lose one guy, it is very difficult to win a 5v6, especially on control center maps.
Yeah. But talking about, back to my point of adapting or putting teams in position where they have to adapt as fast as you can. Kings Row, this has been happening, I would say, last 2 weeks as well, where NYXL has been doing this, I guess they call it the snipe comp, where they start with a Widow, Hanzo, a Zen, and a Mercy. And the idea being that, if you have a defensive Widow, very easy to pick her off when you have 2 snipers, because she can only focus on one. Yeah. And then with the Discord orbs, you Discord orb, giving you the buff, and then you also have the Mercy damage boosting any one of the snipers at any one time.
There's a lot of pick potential.
Oh man, things are dying. There was headshots on Winston's that were just, even some that were body shots, like 2 body shots, and they're dead because of that focus and their focus calling too, right? Because SBB keeping everybody in line. Yeah, it's impressive to watch. They're methodical and they're a defensive based team. So that's our, that's your kind of, that's your, what's the difference? That's your difference. I don't know why I blanked right there. That's your difference between London and, New York. Is that London is a great team, one of the 2 best, right? But they're more offensive based versus where New York is a defensive style.
Yep. This is kind of a nightmare to see when you're in a ladder game too, right? You have a Hanzo and Widow in your team. Are you already hanging it up? You're like, we can't win this. What, they both pick snipers? Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Sonic Arrow and the Widow, man, it really gives you a ton of just open eyes, and you get those picks because you do have sights on everything. So it was awesome to get to see both of them on offense.
And we got to see, Carpe on Hanzo, them trying to do something similar on attack, which is cool to see. His Hanzo's pretty solid. And then Poco, Poco has some growth here, and they talked a lot about it at the desk, and the commentators as well, is where they've taken Poco from the coaching standpoint, someone who's been known as a playmaker, kind of flashy.
We know him from those bombs.
Yeah, from those bombs, man. And now he's becoming more of a tank, where he's sitting with supporting his supports. That was a weird sentence. And then, but using that defensive grid more, staying in a position where he's able to commit to that.
Yeah,
defensive.
It's making a world of difference too.
Yeah,
because it does come down to a lot of tank play, and if your tanks are dying or they're trying to pull these big bombs off, man, you're not pushing the cart or you're not keeping your Winston alive.
Yeah, and then Route 66, where it just seems like either fatigue kind of came into play, or maybe it was just like, hey, we got this already. Let's just kind of cruise through the end.
Here's one for you.
Yeah, here's one for you. We get to see Liberal and Reaper here on attack, which was interesting. I didn't even know he played Reaper. I guess everybody
talk about a
Reaper.
Huge hero pool that guy has, man.
Yeah,
he's impressive on everything.
They call him what was his nickname? The Earl of Elimination or something.
Yeah, dude. Junkrat, Genji, man, he really can do it all.
Yeah, but I was going to ask you, like, why do you think they picked? Because when you're in an overtime situation, you don't really want to go dive comp, right? Because you need to stay near the payload. Therefore, it's not as effective as moving. You can't get everybody to move forward, right? So I don't know. I didn't know if you had insight on that from a higher level playing standpoint.
Maybe just throwing bodies on the point at that point. Just trying to get guys out there.
Okay.
Not a huge reason, I don't think. Just Genji is hard to kill, and Tracer's hard to kill. So maybe they thought they'd get some more time. Okay,
that makes sense. But yeah, they take it 3-1. But a good showing. EKO finally got some challenge, so I'm interested to see what he thinks about what the top looks like, since he wants to be there naturally. But New York's still showing us why they're number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm kind of having a prediction of New York and Seoul in the finals this playoffs.
Especially this stage 2 Seoul. Man, they really. Not saying stage 1 Seoul was bad. We just obviously saw London and New York stand out, but Seoul stage 2 is doing really well too.
Yeah. And then we get into our, final day of the week, Saturday here, with our honorable mentions. You want to go through those?
Yeah. So we start off with New York Excelsior versus the San Francisco Shock, and Excelsior win 4-0.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep. And then our second one was Florida Mayhem versus Dallas Fuel, which probably one of the bigger upsets. Dallas Fuel kind of shaky all week, but still, Florida really showing that they can at least compete with Dallas.
Yeah. So. And we'll get into at the end here about the discipline issues
of Dallas Fuel
with the Dallas Fuel, which is in any sport you're going to have off-field issues, but they're really going for it. They're setting the standard. they're kind of writing the book on how to fuck everything up. Excuse my language, but
they are, and that's what's crazy. They do take the first 2 maps off of Florida, Hanamura and Nepal, and they looked good. AKM was performing, Effect was performing, and then Florida makes a huge turnaround and take the last 3 maps: Route 66, Gibraltar, and Ilios. And this is probably really shaking the confidence of Florida.
Yeah,
of Dallas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the game we're about to talk about is the one everybody's gonna be talking about, the water cooler.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Spitfire.
Yeah, they've. All right, so Gladiators coming here.
This is a good week for my boys.
After this winning streak, and oh man, is that your team?
It is now. Yeah, I'm a bandwagon guy. If you're winning, you're Clay's team. You know what I'm saying?
At least you're honest. I like that.
I have a Los Angeles Valiant jersey, but like I said earlier, Big Goose looks good on the jersey. That's a cool name. So,
Big Goose.
It's a Los Angeles.
All right, Goose, you're now on the hair list. So what do we have? Goose, we have Surefour, we have Raucus, we have Jonak. Jonak, the blonde's gone.
Yeah.
I hope he puts it back in, man. The blonde with the black fade in the back.
Look cool.
Yeah, the bottle glasses, Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah,
they're style, man.
Have you seen a little side note? Have you seen Ark's glasses?
Yeah,
my grandfather has those glasses. Somebody has got to talk to that dude about his glasses. They look ridiculous.
Man.
But yeah.
Okay, Ball Sky. So this is okay.
This is something we expect London. Obviously, Los Angeles took a big map off Valiant, but I think London going in this is probably the favor, right?
Yeah. And why did they essentially go with their B squad to start off? That's the part that I'm kind of confused about.
And I think this gets back to we're still early on the season. We're still trying new things. But, man, it really didn't pay off. We didn't see Birdring in the first 2 maps. And he is kind of one of their headers as far as the DPS role goes.
Yeah, we had Horeg, we had Hygopen, and we had who else? We had Wuhal and Closure in. And I was just like, that's not like that's 4 people that you don't really see. You only have come in whenever you need a rest or whenever you need a sub to kind of give them some time. But that's very risky against a team who's been killing it. So that's a coaching concern for me, right? It's like, why make that call?
Yeah, well, maybe this is a call they make even before the week starts, before see Los Angeles win the first match. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
stick to the plan kind of thing.
Yeah, that way you're not looking like Dallas Fuel and you're changing things every other map. You know what I mean? So maybe this is a call they make early in the week, thinking Los Angeles is not the team that's come out on Wednesday or Wednesday or Thursday. So. But yeah, Volskaya Industries taken by the Gladiators, and it looked really good. I mean, Surfer was killing it on Sombra, and they nearly hold .1.
Yeah, he looked like Surfer has always just been a good DPS in general, right? He's a professional. And I always make that disclaimer. Hey, we know they're all pros. It's all relative, though. And he's looking like a top level, just DPS in general.
Yeah.
He has some impressive forward play as well.
Yeah. I think a lot of people wrote him off, actually, in Stage 1, just because Los Angeles wasn't doing as well as people thought. But, yeah, he looked great.
Fissure, I kind of wish Fissure was more of an emotive personality. He's more conservative, small. He's kind of a small guy. Yeah. But he's playing against his former team, right?
Yeah.
So
you think they call on him, after
they're like, hey, man.
Look, we can figure something out.
Yeah,
we'll get you back.
Yeah, especially, and that's the crazy part is as his former team, and they start off using their people off the bench.
Right.
Which is like, that was the whole case, was he wasn't getting enough play time. And they said they couldn't use him.
That hurts, man.
Yeah, right?
But that's a great point you bring up.
Yeah. So it's like, and you now get to see him because he played very well. His Winston is insane. Like, I kind of aspire to do as much damage as he does while also protecting my team.
Yeah.
Because people see Winston as, Tesla can't really do much. But when played right, use the jumps correctly. That's something I've been practicing myself. So, props to them for pulling this off. But yeah, you said, Volskaya, they take it. We get to see Shaz's May, right?
Yeah. I don't think London sees this coming, too, because he pops out. What was he playing? He was playing a Reaper at some point, or switches to a Reaper at some point, but London kind of gets taken aback by the May. And it really does, because they take it in overtime, leaving, Gladiators with a huge time bank going into their state, the second part of the map. Yep.
And I like this cutthroat approach that Los Angeles Gladiators are going for, where they're playing, we're seeing Hydration on Doomfist for a long period of time. We're seeing Maze. We're seeing like Reapers. We're seeing things that they're willing to do what it takes.
Yeah, and keep them on the toes, man.
That's the adjustment that you see and that you take from New York. New York's a little more conservative, but you see them do things they have to do. And that's what it takes to kind of step up the ladder when you're not number one. We move into Lijiang. And on Lijiang, Gladiators do have a better win rate than London, respectively, up to this point. 59% versus 50%. And that shows here. And like we said, Hydration and Asher are your combo here.
Oh, dude, an insane combo, too. You catch Asher in the background, really picking out the supports, and it just leaves Hydration up front on the fair. Just the splash damage is killing them. Great combo.
Hydration has this 3K that, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch.
3K.
Yeah, so it's a double. You have a double trans, like 57%. You have a double trans, right? And then the Pharah flies outside of the trans just slightly. He picks off Pharah in the air. He then boops. Who is it?
It's the Zenyatta. He bumps him. Yeah, he bumps him off outside of the middle there.
Yeah, bumps him off
the bridge thing.
Yeah, and then gets another kill.
Kind of not seeing him either. He kind of throws it out there just unknowingly, and it does knock him off.
Man,
one of the greatest plays I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's smooth. Insane. It's clean.
Yeah.
Which is super impressive. And then we move into, so they take Lijiang pretty simply from that point. They just hold the momentum all the way through, which is crazy to see because after halftime, we get the original roster back, right?
Yeah, we do get Birdring back on King's Row.
So you think, okay, Birdring's back. You have, Wuhal comes out. You get Bedosin back in. That's a big one, right?
It is,
because I think he still has the highest crit rate of all Zenyatas now. And then Nuss is back in.
Yep.
So okay, we have the A team back in, and what happens? They stop them. They stop them on point 3.
Right.
Like they don't make it to point 3.
Right.
And
That's insane.
I wonder if this goes into another conversation we constantly have, right, Clay, where you talk about bringing someone in, getting them to warm up. Because I'm sure behind stage they're warming up.
Yeah, they're playing in the back room there. Yeah, I'm
but
sure.
it's not the same, right?
No. It's not on the same level. You're just kind of warming up with, just doing some stuff. I'm sure in training and whatever.
Yeah, and then once I made a note here is like once you get the A team back in, they're not playing their normal comps. They're doing like triple tank strategies, which you don't usually see from Spitfire. They're doing different things. There's a lot of Zarya play, and I'm just like, wait, like what are you trying to do here? Because Birdwing's already struggling trying to get into the swing of things because he hops straight on Widowmaker and is just botching it.
Yeah, and you're playing from this come behind situation where you're under a lot of pressure. And you said he does hop on the Widowmaker, and Hydration plays Pharah right in his face. This is something usually you see a Widowmaker, you're getting off Pharah. It's just the risk versus reward is not there. Hydration says, you know what, forget it. I'm staying on Pharah. Still takes on. Taking these guys out. Yeah,
so they take Kings Row convincingly, even from the A team. And then we get Route 66 where Spitfire finally get a game, but it's a little too late just for map differential. And this kind of emphasized my point with seeing how Birdwing was playing because he was playing like Birdwing on that final what we expected on that final.
Yeah, gets into the swing of things. He's really popping off.
But that brings me to kind of my overall question. Us wrapping this one up this week up. Definitely a game to talk about on Monday with the coworkers, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be sweet.
What do you think changed for Gladiators coaching-wise and practice-wise to get them to this where they're at?
Well, I definitely think that the coaches are telling these guys to play a little bit more confidently, and that shows with Asher, where he was a little bit more passive. Hydration was getting a lot more attention, and when Asher is able to take some of the attention off hydration, that they're able to, really get the kills they need.
Yeah.
So, as far as the coaching standpoint, the tanks did really well as well. So, they were able to get these guys going.
All right, man. So let's get into one thing we want to talk about. We're running up on time here. Dallas Fuel's discipline. This has been all the talk this week. Like, okay, so what happened again? Do you remember completely?
Well, I know they ended up with at least 2 suspensions, or maybe 1 suspicion and a fine. XUC obviously can't keep his mouth shut, so he has been kind of the guy on the team that's really, I think, is shaking everybody up. I mean, when you don't have a consistent main tank, you don't have a guy that's going to be there every week. What are the other guys thinking? They're like, well, I mean, we got to learn how to play around Coco.
Yeah.
But he said something on stream and was suspended yet again. So.
And then we had Taimu doing something uncharacteristic where he made a post that was anti-gay.
Yeah, and this was, I think, a little bit earlier in the year. I may be wrong. Yeah. I don't know how recent it was, but he had said stuff on stream as well. These guys, just get off. I mean, I understand XQC, you make a ton of money streaming. Tommy, you probably do well streaming, but guys, focus on what's at hand, and that's playing
either mute the mic or I don't know. Yep. I don't know what to tell you because XQC's personality is what sells, right? So either curate that a little more, or it's just responsible. It's about being adult. It's about your associate, your contract worker, but you're also a brand at this point. So you need to.
I don't see him being long for this league, though.
Oh no, I think that's going to be the first guy who gets kicked out of the league. He'll probably start wearing leather jackets and shit.
And it kind of sucks because we do have a ton of talent on Dallas, and I'm sure they keep bringing more talent in. They picked up Rascal, they picked up AKM, and these guys are probably very hungry to win games, and they can't get consistency out of their team. And I think this is a coaching thing when it comes down to it. Blame XUC all you want, but your coach has to be the guy there saying, hey, don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he has to make not only the calls inside the game, but outside the game. And if these guys aren't focused, they're not going to win games. And it shows here when they play Florida. This is a team they outclassed as far as skill, and Florida's able to, still win.
Yeah. Coaching's important, man. I hope we get more visibility into the coaching staff. I want more coaches talking.
Yeah,
I want more interviews with coaches. I want that aspect of it.
I wish these were like baseball games or football games. Let's get a press conference after.
Yeah.
Let's get some talking going.
Yeah.
But as far as other news, as far as the coaching staff's concerned, we lose Shanghai's head coach. He steps down. And
good try.
Yeah,
just give a participation award, right? Like give him a golden star or something. I don't
think this is 100% on him.
Yeah.
There's some talent that's lacking there as well. But
Yeah.
The assistant head coach, Kong, will step up as the head coach for now.
Okay. Is that it for our other news?
I think that is it. Oh, well, London did lose their head coach as well, and I think that was more of a player decision.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they voted him out, like the island.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess I respect that. You know, it has to be a mutual thing. It shouldn't be – you shouldn't have to force a staff on a team if they feel like collectively it's not working, and that's in everybody's best interest. The goal is to win, right? And
right.
But to win in a way that's not demeaning or completely sucks out all fun of being there. So I want to know more about that story. I don't want to speculate anything of what happened.
Yeah,
but
we'll figure out what's going on this week and see if we hear any more news.
Yeah, so we have some more outlets, guys. You guys can now reach us better. So we still have Gmail. That's the Bird Watchers Podcast at gmail.com. We're still on Twitter, all right? That's at the Bird Watchers. Watchers is spelled WATCH3RS. We got Facebook approved, so you can find us at the Bird Watchers. So we're getting that up and coming. Clay's getting some, some graphics up there, some backgrounds and stuff. So we'll start to be active on that. We're still active on Reddit, hanging out. So ping us, message us there if you want to as well. We're at the Bird Watchers Podcast, and then YouTube as well for people who don't really use podcasting apps, or if you have YouTube Red or something that allows you to use YouTube more as a source of your media. You can find us at the Bird Watchers there. Subscribe, like. If you do, you're not forced to. You can still listen without having to do anything. And we're gonna start getting some other notes on there as well, timestamps possibly, and then just other information so you can.
Yeah, and we love feedback too. So
please.
If you have any, please shoot it our way.
Yeah, if you guys want us to start doing, more of the the matches on the lower end of the bracket, because we do focus on the higher end, since those are usually more entertaining, like especially this week. Let us know. We can shift things around a bit, or week to week changes. But is there anything else from you, man?
No, I think that's it. We're excited for week 4, and we'll definitely hit you guys back up next Monday.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Yeah. See you guys.